Welcome to Ravens Over. Please subscribe to my channel, also hit the notification bell, like this video and share. And welcome to another conversation where I talk about different things that bother me in our life and living. And now we are on She Speaks, where a lot of trans women that transition have been murdered and killed. So the girls have decided to give their points to try to help our sisters from being murdered, and they want to share their views and what has happened to them in their transition. Like this video, share this video everywhere you can, and help me keep our sisters out of the grave. Like and share this video everywhere you can. I created this channel for people with different support
Transgenders
those
murdered.
to support you. There's a PayPal on top.
People
Remember
murdered.
one thing, there are a lot of times people can't send in the truth, but you find one that does support them. Make sure they do not fall within a marginalized community as not being in existence. And you know that there are hard to find people that create a channel that cater to people who are different and stand in the truth. And the allies sit back and say, well, I have no problem with other people. Let me just stand in here and learn something.
Support those
no judgment
who support you.
I love you.
Stay in your truth.
All right now, and welcome to She Speaks, where another beautiful woman that wants to help keep our sisters being put in the grave. As we come to a lot of decisions and concerns about sisters and worries, we try to fight the best way we can to educate people on the things that we go through, and the girls decide they want to come out and share their stories and their experiences to try to help people understand what the girls go through. Now we have another beautiful woman that's coming on here from She Speaks on the recorded line for YouTube. Hey sis!
Hey, I can't believe I'm, on the line with the one and only Raven.
And thank you so much for taking out time of your day just to try to help another girl from being put in the grave. Now I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
When did you know you was a woman? When did you know you was a woman? Can you hear me?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. For me, it was an interesting journey because I'm in my 30s, and I think a lot of the younger girls are having that awareness at 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 and 10. But for my generation, I feel like I kind of came by it like many girls. I grew up and I thought I was gay, and I struggled with that acceptance and being in the closet. And once I was able to finally get the strength to stand in my truth about that led me the freedom to continue to express myself. And then eventually, when I was maybe in my mid-20s, is when I just felt more comfortable in makeup all the time, and I felt more comfortable putting on female clothes. So for me, it was a natural progression. I don't think it was ever just a moment when I just knew instantly. But for me, it just got to the point where I just did not feel comfortable in men's clothing, and so I was just listening to my body at that point.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Now I have to ask you another question. Are you on hormones?
Yes, I am on hormones, and I have actually been on hormones for about 3 years now. And I decided to take that step and move forward so I can start that process. But, every girl has to figure out how far is she willing to go with that.
Yes.
Because I know some girls who were on hormones, because I take the pill, and she was taking the shot, but she had a very strong reaction. She was depressed. She was having suicide ideation. She just couldn't even get out of bed. But the shot is more concentrated because you take it from what she told me every 2 weeks. So in the beginning, it's very concentrated, and then it has to kind of level itself out over the next couple of days or week. But then another woman had told me about Mexican hormones. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't even know if that even exists. but she was, adamant to try to go through the back channel. So I just urge, all the sisters and brothers to just be careful. If you want to do something, do it the right way. They have a lot of free clinics out here, a lot of organizations that are here to help us. And I know everybody is in a rush to look in the mirror and see that body in whichever way they want to see it. But, it's okay to have them aspirations and it's okay to want that, but just make sure it's done the right way and the healthy way. So, you can be here to enjoy that body.
Facts. So, next question. Do you think in order to be a woman, you have to take hormones?
I think that every two-spirit woman, and even woman in general, has to define what is womanhood, what is femininity to them. Like I said, I would be considered a pre-op. And at this point, I don't have any desire to have sexual reassignment surgery. So, we have to individually say what makes me a woman. Those women who have breast cancer and had a double mastectomy, are they not women? If a woman, can't have a child biologically, is she's not considered a woman? So, it's going to be a case-by-case basis, but you have to figure out what do I derive my femininity from. And of course, some people are going to agree and disagree, but you have to stand in the truth of how you align your life and be okay with that.
That's true. Okay, next question. Since you've been a two-spirit woman, things you found out now that you love about yourself?
I think that when you are in the LGBTQ plus community in general, it really forces you to go on an odyssey. Straight people a lot of times are indoctrinated into society and they just conform to the indoctrination. But when you are two-spirit, and as well as the LGBTQ plus community, you really have to go on an individual journey of who am I and how do I want my life to look? Because in some ways, I always joke, we're in the underworld of society. So, we're not really expected to do much. We don't really have any good expectations on us. So, our lives really become what we speak over them. So I think the good thing to come from that was figuring out who am I and what do I want, and really looking at, the society that I was raised in, and figuring out what are my values and what do I want to bring to it and things like that. And to be honest, it's something everybody should do. Gay, straight, black, white, Hispanic, everybody should have these questions and ask themselves, why do we believe what we believe? And, look at how we've been indoctrinated by our communities and people around us. But having been forced to go on that journey and ask myself those questions, that's one of the best things that have come out of the experience for me.
Okay. So the next question would be, since you are now a woman and standing in your truth, what have you seen about the girls within the life of living that really bothers you?
What bothers me the most is we constantly are looking for validation from people who are never going to accept us. And of course, our fearless leader, Raven, has always said that time and time again. At the end of the day, we can't expect people to understand our experiences. And we have to find strength from those of us who are willing to understand and who are open to understand. But then we also have to try to, at the same time, be open to other people's experiences that are different from us, and try to find a way to build the gap between us.
That's true. That's true. Okay. How do your family feel about your transition?
Well, growing up, my parents were just, I think like a lot of people, parents, I remember there was this incident where I used to watch Power Rangers, and of course I wanted to be the pink Power Ranger, and I had a crush on the red Power Ranger, and I used to be in there just, reenacting any scenes the pink Power Ranger did. And my sister had came in there, and she had saw me, and she went and told our mother, and she came in above and had gave me a whooping for acting like a girl, and other little incidents like that. So I don't think they realized that they created an environment where I didn't feel safe to explore that journey that I was on. And as I got older, I just felt more comfortable. And when I did finally stand in my truth, which I hate the term of coming out because it's really nobody's business, to be honest with you. But, I just hate that we're forced to do that because you have to do it so many times. You do it to your parents, you have to do it to, your friends, your neighbors. I just hate that you just have to keep telling everybody. So there's really nobody's business. But so I was able to get to a place with my parents where, they couldn't respect my decision. They never tried to restrict me from living this way or presenting myself as a woman. But I don't think they ever fully understood the role that they inadvertently played in keeping me from being able to accept this and the lengths that I went to hide it until I was in my mid-20s.
Wow.
But now we seem to be in a good place. But, do they ask me about my personal life? No. But, I'm able to be myself around them and they don't try to restrict me from that. Of course, I have other family members who have talked about me behind my back and told people all types of things that I'm going to hell and this, that, and the third. But I think it's interesting because when they was in front of me, they was praising me. They were telling me how beautiful I was and how, God loved me and this, that, and the third. But then as soon as my back was turned, they were making me fulfilled. So, but that just comes with the territory. But at this point, I realize for me, that's not about me. That's about them. I can't take on other people's hatred because those are their issues, not mine.
And it's unfortunate, and I have to apologize to you for what the family has done. And the sad part about it is when they were in our family and stuff, as growing up, we like saying to ourselves, which one of y'all are the backstabbers that's in front of my face and stabbing my back, behind my back? It's sad and unfortunate, but it still didn't stop your growth because you're still a beautiful woman. Now, the next question would be, have you lost friends in your transition?
Yes, I've lost friends over the years, but a lot of it was from just me being immature and me, early on in my 20s being messy and things like that. So I can't exactly blame that on the transition, but I have also lost friends recently, even last year, because of certain views that they had against the LGBTQ community, and I had to make a stand, and I couldn't tolerate somebody being in my life, in a circle that would have these views. And the interesting part is they couldn't understand why I would have to draw a line. And a quick example is a friend for a couple of years is going to school to be a social worker, and she was telling me how she don't believe in gay marriage and she don't believe that gay people should be able to adopt children, but yet she don't see that as a hindrance to our friendship. But how can I be friends with you and trust you and share my life and even care about your life when you don't think that gay people should be able to get married and adopt children? And when I broke it down, you're saying that you're better than gay people
Yeah.
because why should you have the privileges of marriage and having children, and why shouldn't they? So when you break it down to the core, you're essentially saying that they deserve privileges that they don't, which means you're better than them. But she refused to see it from that perspective, and we had to make the choice to just, walk away and wish each other well, unfortunately.
You know what that reminds me of? The Black Lives Matter movement. It's like, okay, support the Black Lives Matter, but then when something happened to one of us, it's like, oh yeah, well, that's y'all fault. Y'all decided those things. Okay, he would come up. Sorry for this noise in the background for this man. Yeah, but that's the thing about it. It's like, the Black Lives Matter thing, and they want us to support it, or you're black, and then on top of that, when we say trans, like, well, that's a decision. You decided to be trans, so those issues are not really that important or valid.
But you know what I think? I think that people are more comfortable with being homophobic or transphobic because of the Bible. The Bible has set a lot of things in place and given people permission to have this intolerance and this hatred. But when it comes to racism is something that's across the board. It's condemned, as it should be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when it comes to homophobia, transphobia, and things like that, it's not something that's condemned across the board because every religion pretty much, doesn't tolerate it, or it's not the best life that they will want for their followers. So I think that has really affected a lot of people, and they have taken their cues from that as well.
Yeah, that's sad. So let me ask you something else. Another question. Do you have a problem finding a job as a two-spirit woman?
Actually, no. I've been working in the home health field since I was 18 because I have a relative that's handicapped. So I take care of that person as a home health care worker. So I haven't had issues with that. I have had issues with volunteering at different places over the years. I was at the mission and I was there for a couple of years, and when they had new people in charge, they asked me to leave.
Wow.
They asked me to leave, and I was there for 4 years.
Wow.
And they had said that they couldn't have me in the facility because they didn't agree with my lifestyle. Now, keep in mind, I only came there to serve food once or twice a week, but they felt that they had to have a certain environment for the people. And I remember there was a couple people in the office, and the man said, imagine being at a rehab facility and we have a drug dealer there. It's not healthy. So basically, I was linked to a drug dealer, and he said that he couldn't have me in the facility because he didn't want me tempting the men, and he had to provide a facility that was, above reproach and think of the men's safety and stuff like that. Now, they did say that I would be allowed to stay there if I accepted God in my life and stuff like that, but we had to end up parting ways because I didn't feel comfortable being there no more.
I wouldn't either. And trying to pick up, let me ask you this. Would this organization that you speak of, would it be more like a predominantly more black people there working here, or is it white people working here?
It was predominantly black, but it was actually it was a mission, but it was a Christian mission. But the people who was previously in charge, they were very welcoming. We always had good conversations. They always thanked me for volunteering there. But when the power had shifted and new people came in, they were the ones that had very strong views and wanted to have the place to reflect that.
You know what that reminds me of? Slavery being revisited. So basically, you can't come through this and eat here. You can't come through this door because of your race. And it's so sad that people of color don't realize how the stigma they're creating and still making it reborn over and over again. But yet and still, in the same breath, they don't want that slavery revisit back onto them. It's amazing how people are hypocrites in this world, and it's unfortunate it happened to you, and I'd like to apologize to you for that as well. Now I got a fun question to loosen the mood. Now, are you the kind of girl that would like to have your hair natural hair, or would you like to wear wigs? Or you like to do both? Or it don't even matter?
Well, obviously, I like to kind of give long-winded answers, but growing up, I wanted long, straight European hair.
Okay.
And that's why representation matters, because growing up, even as a young black boy who would become a black woman, I didn't see natural hair promoted as the standard of beauty. So I wanted the long, straight European hair. And when I first started my transition, I would buy weaves that represented that. But it wasn't until the recent years and having adequate representation of black beauty being um black beauty being catapulted and being praised, that I started to really have a different appreciation and an understanding of my hair. So now I'm natural. And if I was to have any type of weave, I wanted to be weave that look natural and complement my already existing hair texture. So that's why, once again, representation matters. Now these young girls can grow up and they can see black women in magazines with afros and 4C hair, 4B hair, 4A hair, and they can see those women with the noses and the lips, and they can see that as a standard of beauty. They can see women with dreads and braids and know that is beautiful just like them. So that's why it's so important to have ourselves represented in the media.
This is true, and we're having a rebirth of the natural look and stuff, and it's weird because it's already been there. But the thing that now we're celebrating what we were supposed to be ashamed of, and now we're starting. The world is changing and stuff, and the thing about it is, I like the natural look as well and stuff, and I'm kind of like with you, with the piggyback off the European here as well. But now that the times are changing, natural look is in now, and girls are embracing it. Now, I have a serious question for you. You, as a two-spirit woman, has an admirer that's watching you in the background. She adores you. She wants to transition, but she doesn't quite have the strength that you have to stand in the truth. Now, she's watching you. She's watching how you do it. She adores you. But in her country, if she do follow behind you, she may be murdered. Because in some country, it's not accepted. Walking outside her door, she could be killed. But she wants to transition anyway. What kind of advice would you tell this woman in her transition to help her?
Excuse me. So I think that, we all have our issues that we're facing, but, first and foremost, those of us in the United States, we do have a certain privilege. We do have a certain safety that other countries, people who are LGBTQ plus does not have. So we do have to acknowledge that. We do have privilege. So in certain ways we can move and maneuver, they can't. In other countries, there are honor killings, and the family kill that, their own members as an honor killing and things like that. So what I would say is you have to be aware of all the moving pieces. You have to be aware of the temperament in your country and what would the punishment be? And then you have to find a way to try to maybe express yourself within the confines of your country. So it may mean that you can only do it in private. If you had your own place, then maybe you can get dressed up and you can just be inside your house.
Right.
And, as Raymond would say, you can be all cut and you can just be, doing everything inside your house, but you may not be able to express yourself outside of your house, or you may not be able to even express yourself in front of the friends out of fear of how they may respond, and if they would go and tell somebody, and then it would be a retaliation. So you really just have to look at the environment that you're in. But I also would suggest that you would maybe look for online resources. There are a lot of chat rooms, and when I was about 15, 17, chat rooms saved me because I was able to find people who was like me. There are a lot of them in this country, and it was just a freedom in being able to talk to people. So maybe that is an avenue that you can explore. But I would try to be mindful. I would try to talk to people who maybe stay in the state because they're a little bit more open-minded, and you can maybe have a little bit of a more of a safe feeling talking with them. But, long story short, you really have to judge it for yourself because if this is something that could get you killed, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? But, for me, if I couldn't live in my truth, then I don't want to live because that's no life for me. I can't live a life that's a lie. I've been there, done that, as many girls and boys have. So, I don't know if I can go back to that existence, but I just would urge you to be aware of the repercussions that you face in your specific country and find a way to express yourself within that.
Right. And for anyone who's wondering, when she says she wouldn't want to live, and she's basically stating that basically, um, you wouldn't want to live in that country. Basically, what you need to do is try to get up out of there and leave, and try to find your way to find to a place where you're safe in another country. Whether you could try to find a way to get out of there. Is what she's stating. Okay. The next question: are you happy in your transition?
Yes, I'm happy at my transition because I'm happy with my life. And I think that we all have to try to find joy in our day. And, so many times we're so busy going from point A to B that we don't take time to enjoy the small things,
That's true.
such as being able to take a hot shower, being able to have air condition on a hot day, being able to have a clean, comfy bed to luxuriate in after a long, hard day. I think we really have to start to shift ourselves to really being grateful for the small things because that is where the joy is. Yes, it's nice to go on trips. Yes, it's nice to, have, pretty things that are expensive, but I don't think you can really stay in that joy all day. So, I think finding joy in the everyday things is really the secret. And when you start to show gratitude and look at how far you've come and what you have gotten, it changes your frequency.
Yeah.
And you can start to attract, other things towards yourselves. But if you're only looking at the negatives and you're not grateful for anything that's going on, you're going to always operate from a frequency of negativity, from a frequency of ungratefulness. And it's going to just keep getting that, attracted back towards you. So, yes, I am happy with my life because I look for joy in every day. I'm grateful to have a conversation with Raven. I'm grateful to be able to sit in a room and have the sun come in and shine in my face. I'm grateful for just every little thing that I think sometimes we lose sight of.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the next question would be, if a man or a woman wanted to be with you and have a relationship with you, what would they have to do to win you over?
Well, at this point in my life, every woman has to have their boundaries of what they're willing to accept. And at this point in my life, as I say, I'm a goddess on a pedestal. I don't chase behind a man. I don't cook for a man. I don't clean for a man. It's not my job to pick the the man problems. My focus is to live a rich, juicy life. And if he chooses to come in my life and he wants to add to that and he wants to take me out and show me off and treat me like a goddess on a pedestal, I would be open to that if it's, if he's treating me appropriately. But if he's not able to understand the gem that he has, then, that's his loss. So the only thing he has to do is just be a man and step up to the plate and, just,
treat you right.
court me as if he was any other woman.
Right.
That's the secret. And I think at the end of the day, we all have to know our worth.
That's
We
true.
all have to know what we bring to the table. And, even in friendships, I know what I bring to the table. I know that the people that I'm friends with, their life is better because I'm in it. I know that I have gifts that, I can improve my friend's life as they improve my life as well. So when you know what you bring to the table and you know that you can add value to people's lives, you don't settle for less. Look at Raven. Raven adds so much value to people's lives that, she deserves nothing but the best. And if you can't treat her like a goddess on a pedestal, then she don't need you in her life because her presence, her energy, her aura is going to uplift people. It's going to reinvigorate people. It's going to make people better if they're open to receive that frequency.
Oh, thank you, sis. I appreciate that. You trying to find me a man? Okay, and the last question will be, do you have a preference? When I say this means tall, short, black, white, ethnicity. What would the preference be if that man would be great for you? What preference would you like?
I'm kind of like Raven in this from this perspective. I don't really have a preference. My preference is it doesn't matter how he looks. Obviously I'm in my 30s, so I would want somebody who at least, I used to say 25, but where I'm at now, probably 30, because the men in their 20s are, still playing games and childish. So, as long as he's, 30 and above, and he makes me laugh, and he respects me, and he understands what I bring to the table, and he is grateful of my presence and appreciative of it, that's really all that matters. It doesn't matter black, white, Haitian, Puerto Rican, Asian, 5'6", 6'3", skinny, a little chubby, all those things doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's about connecting. And, to take it a step further, I'm open to a transgender man. I'm open to anybody that can bring joy in my life. So maybe one day it might be a woman. Have I been attracted to a woman before? No, but who knows what may happen? I may be the woman tomorrow. And, she may stir up some feelings in me that I never thought existed. So as long as, somebody can respect me and bring joy to my life and respect what I bring to their life, I'm open to pursuing a relationship.
Okay. And that is the last question. You did great. You are the woman of number 11.
I just want to say one more thing to
Sure.
anybody who happens to hear this. I think at the end of the day, I know from experience, we have to tell ourselves the God-awful, gut-wrenching truths that, we like to hear from ourselves. And that's the only way we can heal. That's the only way we can claim the lives that we want for ourselves. So much of us carry around anger and hatred and just all these bad experiences. I don't think we realize how much that affects our day-to-day lives and how much we keep reattracting those experiences to us. I'm not saying it's always our fault, but sometimes we are just innocent victims, wrong place, wrong time. But, if we keep going through a specific scenario, we have to look at what is this here to teach us? Why
That's
do I
true.
need to heal from this? And once you do the work of really unpacking some of the things that are hurting you and keeping you in the past, they have no more effect over you. And
That's
it's
true.
gone. It's over with.
It's very true. All facts. Well, you always been a spiritual woman, so you see a lot of things anyway. You're my baby sister, but you're also my ancestor. And that's the last question. And thank you for those words of kindness and thank you for coming on this channel on She Speaks to try to help our sisters from getting in the grave. And I want to say thank you.
And I just want to say thank you, Raven, for creating this platform and continuing to stand on the front line and take all the hits more than any of us know and use your life to be of service to others. You will never get all the flowers that you deserve, but just know that, you are helping countless and countless of people behind the scenes who then go in return and help people as well. So the depth of your reach is endless. And, I can look back at this when Raven has her own network show and
You
remember
funny.
that, I was one of her first interviews back in the day when she was still on YouTube.
Well, when I get my network show, I definitely want you to come work with me on it because I'm gonna need your advice. But thank you, beautiful, and I appreciate that, and I'll embrace it and accept it. So thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for coming on She Speaks.
Once again, thank you for having me, and everybody remember to be kind to yourselves. Take care.
The message. Thank you. And thank you for my loving, beautiful woman that decided to try to help our sisters from being murdered. Now, if you're a two-spirit woman that want to share your story, hit me up at ravenover@yahoo.com. If you are a trans-attracted man and you want to share your story, hit me over at ravenover@yahoo.com. If you are a cisgender woman and want to hear your story, hit me up at ravenover@yahoo.com. This way, I will give you the list. I will read the questions all to you. So way before you do the interview, you already been pre-interviewed for the story. So I don't want to make an ambush. I don't want to make it like I think you didn't know what was going on. The only thing I ask you to do is respect my platform and follow my format. Follow the rules and we're going to have a great conversation. And remember one thing, you will be helping some girl along the way. And I do feel as though we all have a story to tell. And I'm very grateful for the girls and the men who decided to come on this channel to help keep our sisters alive. Share this video everywhere you can because there's a girl out there that's stuck in transition that don't even know what to do and she feels like she alone. So let her know that she's not alone. And I have a bunch of videos where she could pull from. At the top there's an Instagram button. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. Share this video everywhere you can and let you know I love you. And thank you for watching. Catch the rave.